What if those monsters or creepy crawlies that are chasing you in your dreams are actually the result of the universe's optimization process for lower entropy? Wouldn't that be fascinating? So as you can see, there are three major points I would like to discuss and also one smaller one. So what I want to talk to you about today is Carl Friston's free energy principle, the ocean model, and I also want to talk to you about Carl Gustav Jung. So how your personality optimizes your brain, the intersection between free energy, the Big Five model, and Jungian archetypes. My name is Cyril Sadowski. I am an engineer and a scientist, and I am deeply fascinated by anything that is somehow connected to intelligence. What if your brain's primary job isn't to think? And this is very interesting because you maybe know about this, but every efficient system hates entropy. So it turns out that maybe even our psyche also is this kind of machine, this kind of system which tries to optimize for lowering entropy. Now, what is entropy? So entropy is a measure of chaos. So I want to connect three kind of big ideas. That's the Friston's free energy principle, the Big Five personality model, and the Jungian archetypes. But the main idea is to understand why the dreams that we have basically every night, why they are very important to clean up our brain structures, our neural networks, and to basically compress your daily experience into highly efficient structure or representation or first principles. Now let's talk about the brain as a prediction machine. So Carl Friston proposes that all biological systems are driven to minimize free energy, which we can think of as minimizing prediction error or surprise. So mathematically, surprise is defined as prediction error. And I will explain what this means in more mathematical terms in one slide later. So you can see that the free energy definition is basically a surprise or prediction error given some sort of model. And it can be a generative model like a large language model, or maybe even our brain, right? Your brain must constantly update its internal model, solving an optimization problem in real time. So you can see this in this right side where we have the world, we have the reality around us. Our brains, we as like these living organisms, these living entities, right? We don't have access to the universe's source code, right? So we don't know what will happen with certainty next. So we have to operate with these probabilities. So we have the world, we have the reality, we have the universe around us. Then we have our senses, like our eyes, our vision, smell, taste, touch. So we can kind of probe the world around us. And then based on that testing of our world, of touching and feeling the world around us, we can then update our brain, our model, what will happen next. Because humans are known that we basically invented the future. So we are trying to predict the future. And why? Because we are trying to minimize the prediction error. We are trying to minimize the surprise. We are trying to minimize the free energy. Okay, so I understand this was a bit theoretical. So let's move on to the next slide. Let's explore what it means to have a wrong world model, wrong model of the world. So wrong model equals wasted energy. So let's imagine this situation. You hear a loud bang. Your brain instantly queries its generative model. What caused this? If the model says meteor, your body floods with cortisol and adrenaline, enormous metabolic energy consumed. A full threat response. So imagine that, I don't know, you've seen some catastrophic movie with Bruce Willis, and your prior belief is that when you hear a loud bang, basically it means that a meteor has hit the Earth. So and you can imagine that you can waste a lot of energy by running around in panic. But this is not a typical situation. Your prediction model, your generative model, your brain is basically very probably wrong. So we can simulate this, that we have here a naive prior that a meteor hitting the Earth, in our mind, in our brain thinks that there is a 92% chance that the meteor is hitting the Earth when you hear a loud bang. And only 8% of old car backfiring. But as we are living, let's say, in this peaceful neighborhood, we slowly change our beliefs in a Bayesian way, actually. And as we slowly increase our understanding of our local neighborhood, because when I look outside from the window, when I hear a loud bang, I don't see a meteor falling, but I see an old car backfiring. So as these experiences accumulate, I slowly change the understanding, the model, the world model. And in the end, I arrived at a more calibrated state, which is, there is only a 3% chance of meteor hitting the Earth when I hear a loud bang. Otherwise, it's probably an old car, right? So it was just an old car backfiring, model was wrong, energy wasted. This is prediction error in the real world. I talked about some sort of priming or some sort of prior beliefs that we have about certain events that happen in the world. It might be that when I see darkness, I maybe feel I should be cold because in the night maybe it's colder. Or maybe when I hear a loud bang, it's maybe an old car backfiring. So how do the prior beliefs come into existence, into being? A lot of our initial programming is done via our genetics. So we have these personality traits, and there are different models which study personality, but one of the most useful ones is the Big Five model, and the acronym is OCEAN. And as you can see here, the OCEAN means openness to experience, conscientiousness, extraversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. So think of your temperament as a initial conditions or priors in your Bayesian brain. So how does all of this tie into those monsters that we see in our dreams? So dreaming is model optimization. During the day, we collect massive amounts of data. Basically, a lot of it is noise. At night, the brain goes offline to prune the synapses. It's deleting the unnecessary code to lower the metabolic cost of the model. So during the day, we accrue a lot of experience. A lot of new events basically happen. But most of them are not important, and even if we wanted to save all of our experiences, our brain is not capable of that. So during the night, we accumulate data during the day, and then we sleep, and then we go to sleep, and then we dream. And that actually means as our consciousness is shut out from the external world, the brain can focus on itself and try to find those causes and effects, basically those parameters, which are most useful to predicting the future. Okay, so let's take an example. So let's say, and this is the Jungian philosophy actually. So let's say that during several days you had some bad, threatening experiences, and instead of maybe remembering every single experience, your brain compresses those experiences into one threat, a monster which you see in your dreams. So that's it cleans up the brain to only remember the first principles, that nowadays there is a threat, and the threat is represented as a symbol in a dream by a monster that keeps chasing you. And you have to do something about that. So archetype as evolutionary compression. Why do we see monsters? Because for a highly neurotic individual, the monster is the most energy efficient way to represent thousands of years of evolutionary threat data. Instead of calculating every possible danger, your brain uses a symbol, a compressed file of human experience to help you navigate fear. You are a system finding order in chaos. So the free energy principle, that's the global objective, that's the mathematical objective. So how do we minimize surprise? Because surprise usually means something bad, although not always, but usually, at least in natural conditions. Then we have the big 5 traits. Your biological priors. So remember, that's the openness to experience, neuroticism, etc. That's the starting conditions that shape your prediction model. Then we have synaptic pruning, that basically happens during the night when our brains is optimizing its parameters to be able to find the best first principles to adhere to the free energy principle. Then we have these Jungian archetypes. So they are the evolutionary shorthand. They are compressed symbols that let the brain handle complex threats cheaply. And it's not only about threats, but complex situations. To have these symbols that you don't have to represent every single situation that happened, remember every single situation that happened to you, because we have these symbols. We have the monsters, so we know that represents a threat. The creepy crawlies. We have the shadow representation. We have maybe the hero myth. And using all of these symbols, our brains during the evolution basically optimized for the free energy principle to basically use minimal amount of energy as is possible. And we have all these different, the big 5 model, we have all these different personality traits, because not one strategy is the best one. And dreams here are the most fascinating part, because they are the conscious experience of an unconscious optimization process shaped by who you are, your priors, and your experiences. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please press the like button. And maybe if you found it useful, you can also share this video and subscribe. Have a great day.